Hello and welcome to the Print on Demand Playbook Podcast. I'm your host, Kerry Egeler, here with my co-host, Adrian Von Arx, and we are very excited today because we are diving into one of the most profitable channels that you can set up in your e-commerce business, and that is email marketing. I know we're both so passionate about this, and there are some amazing nuggets and some amazing tips in this episode, so you want to make sure you listen all the way through because we've got 5 amazing points about email marketing and some strategies and some tips in there that you definitely want to hear. But before we hop in, I want to ask you, will you subscribe to this podcast if you're enjoying it? Just hit the subscribe button on Apple or Spotify, or you can also hit the subscribe button over on YouTube. It helps us out, it helps us grow the podcast, and it helps you never miss an episode. So we want to thank you for listening today so much. We're so glad you're here. And before we dive into the content, here's a quick word from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by Gelato, the world's largest print-on-demand network. Gelato enables individuals ranging from e-commerce entrepreneurs to artists and creatives to establish their own global business. What makes Gelato truly unique is their focus on local production. The item being delivered is produced in the country that the order is placed almost 90% of the time, leading to numerous benefits for you, including lower costs, faster delivery times, and reduced carbon emissions. The focus on technology to bring together over 130 production facilities across 32 countries truly sets them apart. Not only that, they currently have the highest customer satisfaction score in the POD industry on Trustpilot. To check them out for yourself, go to sixfigurefounder.com/gelato and use the discount code POD Playbook, all caps, to get 60% off your first order when placed within 72 hours. That's the number sixfigurefounder.com/GELATO. You can also find the link and discount code in the podcast show notes or in the video description on YouTube. Kerry, what is going on, my friend?
Man, it's just hot summertime, and I'm doing good though, doing very well. What about you, man?
Good to hear. I am doing awesome. I went off the grid over the weekend. I took a couple days off with my wife. We were celebrating our wedding anniversary. It was actually belated, but we were celebrating it, and so as you know, I'm snowboarding right now. Do you know what snowboarding is? Like, if I just using this term and a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking. I thought you said snowboarding. I was like, you're snowboarding in the summer in Canada?
No. Okay, snowboarding. So this is something that's really big in Arizona. So when it gets really cold in parts of Canada and a lot of the parts of the US, a lot of people, especially retirees, they relocate temporarily down to Arizona and other warm states like Florida, Southern California, stuff like that, Texas, to escape the cold and to get kind of sun all year round. And Arizona, we get so many snowbirds, tons of Canadians, tons of Americans from the Midwest and from the northern parts and whatnot. And so I always tell people I'm snowboarding because I live in Scottsdale, but I am living in Vancouver for 4 months to get away from the 110, 120 degree heat.
So you're doing the reverse?
Take advantage of the best heat, the Vancouver, like the best sunshine heat. So essentially we're geohacking. We're just following the sunshine all year round. And only because I have freedom of time and location, because this e-commerce life, this, print-on-demand life, I'm able to do that. But we just went somewhere local. We're in Vancouver right now. We just went over to this area called Gibson's, which was so beautiful. We stayed in a tiny home for the first time ever. Have you ever stayed in a tiny home?
No, I don't want to. I want to stay in a humongous home. Completely the reverse.
Well, then you would hate tiny homes because they are like uber efficient. But anyhow, it was an awesome time. It was a lot of fun, and I'm just feeling refreshed. I'm like ready to rock. Awesome. I'm ready to talk about email marketing today. Woo-hoo. So just before we jump in that, there's 2 things I wanted to mention. First, of course, we're going to give a shout out to one of our reviews because we always do that because we love you guys. We love all our listeners. And secondly, we got to talk about the elephant in the room. Do you know what I'm talking about, Kerry?
Yes, I do.
That is the Threads app. The Threads app. So I think it's 6 days ago from the time we're recording this, Threads went live. And it's really interesting because this was created by Meta, by Instagram, owned by Meta. It's nicknamed the Twitter Killer. And it was straight up a ripoff of Twitter. And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. What I'm excited for sellers is right now they're not running any ads on Threads, but Meta is licking their chops to run ads to this community, which I believe is over 100 million people already. And this is going to be awesome for sellers because it just gives us more real estate to get our message out there in front of our ideal target audience, the people we are trying to connect with. So just so you know, Threads, essentially the way they frame it,
you got to read the review, bro. You got to read the review.
Which review?
Read our Apple review, right?
Oh yeah, no. I'm talking about Threads still.
Oh, we're doing that after. Okay. I thought you were going to read the review, then we were going to talk about Threads.
No, I said we're going to read the review, but first we're going to talk about the elephant in the room.
Right,
we're just going to get that out of the way.
We're on Threads.
No, you're good. I'm going to keep going.
Keep going. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay. Threads is a new app built by the Instagram team for sharing text updates and joining public conversations. So essentially, it's exactly like Twitter. And I've actually noticed that quite a few six-figure founder members are already on it. On the day that it went live, I asked our community in our private Voxer chat for six-figure founder members, and a lot of them were like, yeah, we're on it already. So that was really exciting to see. And I'm going to be very curious to see over the long term if the momentum continues for this and how it's going to benefit sellers like us and the people who listen to this podcast. So that's all I'm going to say about Threads. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about later, but it's only like 6 days old, dude. It's still in diapers. So there's not really a lot to say. We'll see how things go over time.
So I think it's interesting. It's like 6 days old. It went from 0 to 100 million members already, 100 million users, which is insane. Just for reference, I think Twitter has 100 million, either 100 million or 300 million.
I think Twitter still has a lot more than Threads.
Yeah, I think it's at 300. I think it's at 300 million is Twitter. I just listened to a podcast about this. It's the only reason I know. I think Twitter's at 300 million. Threads in 6 days got 100 million. It's likely that a lot of those people will kind of drop or not be as active, but you never know. You could be as active. But I do think it's interesting that it's all connected into Instagram. So like when I set up my Threads account, it was so simple. Like I just connected into Instagram. Simple. I'm already getting followers because even though I haven't posted anything, because people are like already following me on Instagram, so they're following me over on Threads. So I think it's got a really good like onboarding kind of feel. It feels good so far. So we'll see how it does. It could be a really great opportunity, and like you mentioned, maybe it could be awesome opportunity for ads. We'll have to see. Let's see what happens.
I hope so. We're always looking for opportunities to get our message in front of the right people. And the more real estate there is out there for us to spread our message, the better it is for us as sellers. Yeah. Last thing I'm going to say, did you hear about this cage match that Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg have been talking about?
Yeah.
Dude, like it should definitely happen now. Let's go. Like Elon Musk is fuming. He's so mad. He's threatening to sue. I think he is trying to sue them for trade secrets or some crap like that. Like, dude, it's literally just a micro blogging site. Twitter is nothing crazy. I don't think he has a case here, but I'm not a lawyer. I could be totally wrong. Maybe Threads will be gone. I don't know. But it would be so funny if they actually had a cage match. Dude, they should have a cage match. And the winner gets to keep the platform. So if Mark Zuckerberg wins the cage match, then Threads remains and Twitter just drops all lawsuits. That's how it should go down.
Well, the whole thing about it,
an epic way to decide.
Yeah. The whole thing about it is Elon is like way bigger than Zuck. He's like, just a bigger dude, but like Zuck's in incredible shape and like trains jujitsu and all the things. So it's like, who does the big guy win because he just pummels him, or does the jujitsu super fit guy win? I don't know,
man. That'd be a pretty good match. I would watch. I would watch. You could probably pay-per-view that.
Broadcast it on Twitter and Threads.
Dana White like promoting it, pay-per-view at all the bars. Anyhow, all right, we digress. Let's get to our review. So today we are sharing a review from one of our listeners, and this is Tina R. So I'm pretty sure this is the review that we're on. Tina R, thank you so much. We really appreciate reviewing. This is actually a really cool review. So it says, grab something to take notes. And they wrote us a 5-star review and they say, this podcast is great. Adrian and Kerry provide a lot of info in every episode. They truly want to help people succeed. I listen when I make dinner and I'll write notes on my refrigerator. They give so much info. I have to take notes to retain it. Follow them, support them. Thank you guys for providing such valuable information. Woo.
Dude, that was one of the best ones I've ever heard. Thank you, Tina.
Man, that's such a good review. Thanks, Tina.
Tina, you're amazing.
Like very just authentic. Like I can feel the authenticity of that review. Like you took time to think about this. And I think that's so cool that you're taking notes. I hope everybody's taking notes, but a lot of people listen in their car and, but you guys can always listen to it again. So that's a good part.
For sure.
But anyhow, let's get into the main event of this episode. So we're calling this episode "The Fortune is in the Follow-Up" because we all know that is the case. And we are talking about email marketing, which is hands down one of the most valuable sales channel and absolutely essential for the success of any t-shirt or apparel brand, in my opinion. Kerry, I'm sure you would agree with that statement as well.
100%.
There is just so much power in email marketing. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to break up this episode into 5 parts. So first, we're going to talk about the power of email marketing, and we're going to drop some fun facts on you. Second, we're going to talk about why email marketing is so powerful. Third, we're going to talk about the first thing that you should always do as soon as you start driving traffic to your website. Fourth, we're going to talk about how to make money in your sleep. And fifth, we're going to talk about effective campaign strategies. And we're going to try to keep this under an hour. Kerry, do you think that's even possible?
I know it's possible because we've done it before, Adrian. We've done it before. It's just lately we've been straying from our ways. We've just been going too in depth. So we have to get these listeners all the value packed into 1 hour.
Yeah, dude, it has been marathon after marathon episode lately. So we're going to try to keep this one under an hour. We'll see if it happens. We're not making any promises. If the conversation is really good and there's a lot of value, then we're going to keep dropping value. But why don't you start with section number 1, Kerry, the power of email marketing. Why don't you just drop some fun facts on our listeners? Because email marketing is extremely, extremely powerful. And I think when people hear this, they'll kind of, if they don't already know, they'll be like, whoa, email marketing is.
We've got some amazing stats that'll really kind of just make you go, wow. Because I think the big thing that I want to say about email marketing is like, it's just interesting because, so I've been doing email marketing like for, I guess a while now. I got like maybe 7 years. Is that right? Like 7 years or something. So I've been like email marketing a long time, both, for our coaching businesses and like, everything we do with Shirt School and Six Figure Founder and everything. But then also, on the e-commerce side, like I've been doing kind of all different kinds of email marketing and read books and all that kind of stuff. And it's just so interesting because I think like it's one of those really light bulb things of like, once you really get it and you really start doing it consistently, it's so much easier to get results from email marketing than it is like trying to do organic social media and all that kind of stuff. And everything kind of has a piece of the puzzle, but email marketing is so profitable. It's so simple. It's like, it's just amazing. On the flip side, like what I find is so interesting is that most people avoid it. Like they don't, they sign up an email marketing account because they like know they need one, but then they don't actually email their list, even when it's small or what, it's like most people don't do it. It's like one of those things that people really don't want to do. I don't know if it's just because they think they're not good writers or like what the case may be, but I would really, really encourage you. Like when I started email marketing, I was just sending out sales and sending out new products, and that was fine. Like it worked. Like I think people are conditioned to buy from emails because they get so many emails that are selling the products. Like people understand that you're going to market in the email. So like,
right.
Just, you got to email. You have to email. Just do it. It will be so profitable.
Absolutely. And not only that, can I say something about that?
Yeah. Placeit.net is the internet's largest collection of realistic mockups, design templates, and so much more. In fact, it's our most used tool as print-on-demand and apparel sellers, and we've been using it almost daily for over 8 years. With the power of Placeit, you can put your designs on products ranging from t-shirts, mugs, hats, bags, posters, and more. Then simply pick the setting and model and generate a high-quality, realistic photo mockup that you can use on your website, in your social media, in your marketing, or wherever you choose. Not only that, Placeit has an incredible design studio to create your next best-selling design. Start with one of their thousands of templates or create your design from scratch in a matter of minutes. Placeit really is like magic with a do-it-for-you type offering, and we believe this is a must-have tool for every print-on-demand or apparel seller. Simply go to sixfigurefounder.com/Placeit to get 10% off your first month or 10% off an annual subscription. No discount code is required, but you must use our link to get your 10% off. That's the number 6 figurefounder.com/Placeit, or use the link below down in the show notes or in the description on YouTube. Thank you, Placeit, for sponsoring this episode.
Most people do not buy the first time they visit a website.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so a lot of us, we use social media to build a following of raving fans. We drive them to our website, we collect their email addresses, and we remarket to them. And it's in that remarketing that a lot of the dollars are made. Like a lot of the money is made on the back end. It's not made the first time they visit your website because they're still unfamiliar with their brand. They might not trust it yet. They might not see anything they like yet. But if you're marketing them new arrivals, if you're marketing them promotions, you're just giving them more incentive to become a customer. Not to mention, a lot of times customers can take months to eventually buy from you. Like some might not buy till Black Friday, who knows? But when you're building up your email list, it's important that you are sending emails regularly to nurture your audience. And I think that is where a lot of the money is made. That's where a lot of the sales are made. So I think it's kind of understated and it's not talked about very much. For some reason, email marketing doesn't have the same like sex appeal as social media. You know what I mean? Well, sure, pizzazz.
That's what's so stupid about it, is that like social media is always all the rage. Like everybody wants to talk about all these social media strategies, and it's like tried and true, 25 years, email marketing is still 1,000 times more profitable, if you ask me, than social media, and it's something that no one can take away from you. Anybody can take away your Instagram account, your Threads account, your TikTok, whatever, not anybody, but the company can take that away. It can be removed from you for whatever reason, but no one can take your email list away. And you can literally press the download button and you can download a CSV file and you can put it on a USB stick or in the cloud or in Dropbox or whatever. And that's yours to keep. That's and that's one of the most valuable things you could have in your business is an email 100%. List, because when you sell your business, if you ever sell your business, that's what one of the first things they're going to ask is do you have a buyer's list? Do you have an email list? And they're going to want that. There's going to be a ton of value in that. So anyways, I digress. Let's get into these stats.
No, you're totally right though. You're totally right. It goes back to the owned versus rented platforms.
Yeah.
Email is an owned platform. Social media is a rented platform. Like you said, they can pull your account up from under the rug and you lose all of your followers immediately. But if you've been collecting their email addresses all along, you can email them. In a worst case scenario, if your account did get terminated, you still have that super valuable email list. You could email them, say, hey, our Instagram got terminated for some reason. Now we're over on TikTok. Come join us on TikTok. And they just follow you on another platform. And you can continue selling and marketing to them all along with minimal impact in a lot of cases. So
we could keep talking about this. Other thing I want to say is there's going to be ebbs and flows in your business, but the email list is always to me, it's always been that safety net because, I love running ads and I've made a ton of money from ads. But especially on the t-shirt and e-commerce side, there's times when ads were less profitable or maybe they weren't profitable. And if I had been focused on building that email list, I could always count on that email list to bring revenue, and I could go heavier on the email side when ads weren't maybe performing as well. You know what I mean? And so it's a great safety net. It's a great supplement to paid advertising. And it's just so valuable. It's so valuable. Yeah. So
okay, you remind me of one more thing I gotta say.
Yes.
And then we'll get into the fun facts, guys. We promise. But you made a really good point about ads, because a lot of times when people run paid ads and they are reviewing the data, when they're reviewing the analytics, they're making a decision on whether those ads are profitable after a couple of days. And what you have to realize is that a lot of people don't buy after a couple of days. So a lot of your sales are going to be delayed, like really delayed. And so what a lot of people don't realize, and this is actually awesome, it's a huge bonus of running ads, is that when you're running ads, a lot of people are going to your website, and a lot of those people are going to subscribe to your email address. And you're eventually going to convert some of those people. And it might take a week, a month, 6 months, a year, you don't know. But you are essentially, there are future sales coming from those ads in the form of email. And that's one more reason why it's so powerful. If you're spending the money to drive ads, you should be collecting email so that at least you have something from those ads, you're remarketing to those people, and hopefully they'll become paying customers.
100%. All right, let's get into the stats a little bit. One stat I want to add here. So I've got a few here on the list. One I want to add, though, that I've always thought about with email, that I think is a good benchmark to really focus on, is that, you know, a healthy email list should make at least $1 per subscriber on your email list per month, which means, you know, if you had an email list of 10,000 subscribers, that you, with consistent emailing, let's say 2 to 3 emails per week, you should easily be able to make $10,000 or more in revenue from that 10,000 person email list, right? You get to 20,000, you're emailing consistently, that's 20K a month in revenue. 30,000, that's 30K a month in revenue, right? And it just takes consistent emailing, and you can absolutely do better than that. Some email lists do worse than that. You know, they're not emailing as much, or they're not, you know, they're not providing as much value on their email list, but that's a great benchmark to look at. And when you consider how much the software costs for email marketing with a list of, let's say, 10,000, I mean, you're talking about like $100 a month or something, you know, like $100 to $200 a month. You pay $100 a month for an email list, and you can make $10,000 in revenue, $1 per person on that list per month. The ROI is insane. The ROI is insane.
Yeah, I think for Klaviyo, it would probably be around, they recently changed like their model not too long ago, the payment model, and it's like based on the volume of emails you send, I think, or something. It used to be based on the profiles or whatnot. Anyhow, for like 10,000 emails, I'm guessing it's probably, if you're sending a couple a month, it's probably around like $250.
Yeah.
But you're right. You know, a lot of times people be like, oh, email marketing, like Klaviyo is expensive. I'm like, well, it's expensive if you're not getting a return on it, but the whole point is to get a return on it.
Yeah.
So if you don't have many followers, they have a free account if you don't have many followers, and it grows with you. But as your email list grows, your sales should also grow with it. And I think this is a mindset shift that people have to have around email marketing, is you have to think of it as an investment with a return. And you should be getting a significant return on your investment, more so a lot of times than you get with ads. So it's actually great, like a great return when you think of it that way, as opposed to just an overhead expense, because it's not. It's like, this is a list of people who want to hear from you, who want to buy from you if you can get the right products in front of them and offer them value. But you can also, if they're unengaging, if they're not opening your emails, you can clean your list. That's another thing that I encourage people to do to keep their count down, is just clean your email list. Klaviyo has really good documentation on this. I have a whole email marketing course. It's 18 videos. It talks about everything from setting up your account in Klaviyo to setting up automations for a clothing brand, campaigns for a clothing brand, cleaning your list, everything. But cleaning your list, it's actually not as hard as people think. And you can just go into Klaviyo and find really good documentation on it. So I encourage people to do that. That's going to keep your costs down, and it's going to get rid of the low quality subscribers, which you don't want anyways. There's no value in having low quality subscribers. The number of your list is a vanity metric. It's the quality of the list. There are email lists with 1,000 subscribers that are way more profitable, have a much higher return on investment than email lists with 20,000 subscribers that don't even care about what you're talking about, and they just subscribe maybe for enter to win an iPad for joining your email list or something like that. You know what I mean?
Okay, second fun fact here. Shoppers spend 138% more when marketing through email compared to those who don't receive email offers. So yeah, like I wake up every day with like 20 emails from all my favorite brands. And if I wasn't getting those emails, I wouldn't be spending as much, especially because a lot of times we'll get coupons and special deals in those emails. So yeah, if you're sending email, your shoppers are going to spend more. Conversion rates are at least 3 times higher on email than on social media. Yeah, I mean, again, it makes sense, right? They click into an email, they're 100% focused on your brand. You can have a direct call to action, link it up. Yeah, that's awesome. Email marketing has an average return on investment of 122%, which is significantly higher than any other marketing channels. Pretty awesome.
And that goes back to the investment thing, right? Yeah. Like think of your email marketing platform as a sales tool, a sales channel for you, and look at the return on your investment. So if a couple $100, a couple $100 might seem expensive if you're not getting a return on that. But if you are making $10,000 from that, then that's huge nothing. Return. That's one of the most probably lucrative sales channels you could have.
100%.
So I like what you said too about just like the value of the list. If you were to sell your brand, if you had a super valuable list and you show that you're making a lot of sales from your list, that's going to add so much value to your brand if you are trying to sell it. It's definitely, like you said, one of the most important things that prospective buyers are going to look at, or one of the things that's going to make your brand look the most valuable.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, why don't we go to part 2? And that is why email marketing is so powerful. So I just want to kind of go through a couple reasons here in case you are not convinced by the power of email marketing. We're going to take it up a notch and we're going to drop some more knowledge on you. So let's just get right into it. I've got a couple of things I want to say here. First of all, I mentioned this earlier, but you own your list and the revenue generated from it. So this goes back to the owned versus rented platform. So you own your email list, Shopify, SMS lists. These are all owned platforms that you can take with you wherever you go. You're not going to get booted off them like you are on like a social media or a marketplace. And so it's very important that you are not reliant on rented platforms. Rented platforms are great for getting exposure and expanding your reach and introducing people to your brand. But the real money is made on the back end. It's made on the owned platforms like email marketing, like SMS marketing. So I always encourage everyone to have an owned platform, and email marketing is one of the ones that I recommend everyone have. So get Shopify in place. We are huge evangelists for Shopify, and then set up email marketing, then start going on social media and trying to create your audience of your ideal target audience, drive them to your website, collect their emails, and then remarket to them. So the second thing I want to mention is that email is a low-cost marketing channel with a very high potential return on investment. So we've already kind of beat this one to death, so I'm not going to talk about that much more. We know, hopefully everyone kind of understands now that you should be getting a return from your email marketing. You should be making a lot more than you're actually paying.
Yeah, let me say, there's not really a scenario that I see where you shouldn't be making money, like making a return on your email marketing. What I mean by that, I guess the only scenario I could see is if you have an email list, but you're not actually sending emails, which seems crazy to me, right? Like that's the whole point of building the email list is to send them emails. But a lot of people don't. We build our email list. We might get 1,000 people on our email list, and then we just don't send emails. I see that from a lot of people. But what I mean by that, you mentioned it earlier. Most platforms, the cost for those email platforms, it will grow with you, meaning that you can start at free. Klaviyo, OmniSend. I mean, pretty much any platform, Mailchimp, ConvertKit, any of these. Like you start at free, as you get more subscribers or you start sending more emails, the cost will go up as you grow. And like, you can make money from 100 people on your list. Like, you don't need to have a big list. You should be getting a return on your investment into that software. Sorry to say that. We keep
No, that's a really good point, and you're totally right. Like, even if you have a small list, email them. And here's one reason why. We talked about this when it comes to creating content, how at the beginning, your content's probably going to suck, your designs are probably going to suck, your website's probably going to suck. I'm just being real. Like, mine did. My content was terrible. My website was terrible. My designs were terrible. Like, no wonder I wasn't making any sales. But the thing is, that is why you put out more. You get better over time. Every time you're putting out new content, every time you're dropping new designs, every time you're making improvement to your website, it is getting better, and it's going to evolve naturally over time. That is totally normal. Most people's businesses are really terrible at the beginning, and that's okay. That's totally fine. You're like everybody else, including us. But the same goes with email. Like, if you're going to be terrible at email, get the monkey off the back early while you have a small list. You're going to get better with every email. You can make changes to your campaigns. You can tweak things. And if you look at your very first emails, like Kerry, if you look at the very first e-commerce emails you ever sent, and then you looked at more recent ones, like a year, 2 years, 3 years later, how much better are they?
Way better.
Mine first were atrocious. Yeah. I can't believe anyone bought. Like,
the first ones are like, the first ones are like, you know, look at this new design. It's like a picture, and then it's like, shop now.
With just a mock-up, just like a print-on-demand mock-up with a big ugly like button. Yeah, like it's totally normal. You guys are totally normal. If you know, you're gonna look at your emails. Everyone listening, you're gonna look at, if you send emails consistently, you're gonna look back a year from now and you're like, what was I thinking? A lot of you, I have seen some really nice ones, like, to be fair, but mine was terrible. A lot of the ones that I see aren't very good, but they do get better over time. Anyhow, I don't even remember why I started talking about this.
What point are you on?
Okay. I was saying, because this is a case for running emails when your list is small. Yes. When your list is small, you should be running emails because you're going to get better over time. And as your list grows, the quality of your emails should grow as well. So you're bringing it full circle. But anyhow, on to the next point, why email marketing is so powerful. It has been literally never been easier to get started with email marketing. I think a lot of people don't realize this. I get why email marketing seems overwhelming, because you're like, oh, another whole sales channel. I got to set up all this stuff. I don't know how to lay out emails or how to design them or format them. Trust me, guys, like, email marketing platforms like Klaviyo, like MailChimp, like Omnisend, they keep getting better, and they know that that's a big pain point, and they know that that's preventing people from sending emails. So they're going to try to, there is incentive for them to make their software easier to use, because it means that you're going to send more emails. And Klaviyo, which is the email marketing solution that I use and recommend, I'm a huge Klaviyo evangelist, just like I'm a Shopify evangelist. And Kerry, I know you promote Klaviyo as well. Like, they literally have a built-in email template library. Built in. You could go, and if you want to send a campaign, you can go to this library. You can choose one of a ton of templates and just click on it, and it's pretty much done for you. You just change out the image, you link the image to your website or to the product in your website. You just throw your logo on there. It's never been easier. And automations, same thing. You can pretty much go in there. They have all these email automations pre-made for you. Some of them you could literally just turn on and not do anything. Now, I would recommend making some tweaks, making it a little more branded and changing a couple of things to make them prettier. But like, as a minimal viable product, some of these you could literally just turn on and make very, very, very few tweaks just to get something up and running. And I think when we started running emails, Kerry, back in the day, like the 2016, 2017, it was way harder, in my opinion. It's gotten so much better, so much easier. And I hope that people do take advantage of these super simple, like pre-made templates and whatnot, because it's going to cut down your time significantly. And the whole point of automations is literally to have emails running in the background. You set it and forget it, and they run in the background and make you money when you don't even know the email is being sent.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that in a bit, but it really has never been easier to get started with email marketing. All right, 2 more points I want to make about why email marketing is so powerful. You can drive more sales with highly targeted marketing strategies. So one thing about email marketing that you cannot do with something like social media is you can't do segmentation. So you can't take a chunk of your audience based on certain characteristics and just market to them. You can do that with email marketing. You can say, I only want to send this email to people who have made a sale for me already, or I only want to send this email to my highest engagers or my whales, like the people that spend the most or purchase the most frequently. You can do that. You can segment your list and you can send targeted emails to those people. Another thing is personalization. So you can personalize your emails. You can call people by their first name, something you can't do in social media. So it does, it is much more, you can be much more targeted. And then the last thing I want to say is messaging the right people at the right time. This is huge because when you send an email, that's going to go out to all those people right at that moment. And if there's a reason why you're choosing to send at that time, maybe you're piggybacking on a holiday or some big event that's happening. Like right now, while we're recording this, Amazon Prime Day is happening. And one thing that we do every year, and we have a lot of successes, is we do a Prime Day sale. We piggyback on Amazon Prime. And I've seen some of the biggest e-commerce brands in the world doing this, like Pure Vita does PV Prime Day. And they'll do like a free shipping for 2 days, just like Amazon Prime has. And you can do other deals and promotions as well. But you can time that right at the right time, whereas social media, you're not going to get, if you posted that on social media, the majority of your followers probably aren't going to see it till the promotion's done. I would recommend posting it to your stories to give it a better chance of being seen, and a lot of people will see it, but you can't just get it to everyone in one pop immediately like you can with email marketing. Does that make sense, Kerry? Did I explain that okay? Because I hope that didn't come across as complicated.
No, I think it was great. No, there's a lot of good points in there.
Cool.
Let's move into number 3. So let's talk about, we talked a little bit about stats. We talked a little bit about why email marketing is so powerful. Now let's talk about the first thing you should do as you start driving traffic to your websites. First thing you should really do with email marketing, just the kind of the minimum thing, how to get started essentially. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I believe you. We're 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in, like, I believe you. Kerry, Adrian, email marketing is awesome. What should I do? How do I get started? So I actually want to start with kind of the strategy. So here's the very simple strategy. And we got some additional points. We're going to walk you through some ideas for email marketing, some automations you can set up, all this different stuff. But here's the essential strategy. Drive traffic to your website. Here's one thing we haven't really talked about is that you're not going to just have you're not going to be able to grow your email list unless you have a channel to drive traffic from. So we talked about how powerful email marketing is versus like social media, but the reality is you really need social media or SEO or the different some way to get new people to your website to actually get their email addresses, right? So the first thing is you're going to drive traffic to your website. You're going to have some channel, some strategy to get traffic to your website. Then once you get people to your website, you get their email address, right? You get their email address. And the way that we recommend doing that is through a simple pop-up. That's the most effective way that we've seen to collect email addresses, just having a pop-up on your website. So as soon as you get somebody to your website, it waits about 10 seconds. They're scrolling through. It pops up and says, get 10% off, unlock 15% off, or maybe it's get a $5 coupon. We saw that recently. I think on our Grow Your Brand workshop, we did a review and somebody had, get a $5 gift card or like get $5 off. I thought that was way more creative than like 10% or 15%. That was a cool one. So have a pop-up there. And then the last step is send them emails. Send those people emails. So that it's not complicated. That's essentially the strategy is drive traffic to your website, collect emails via a pop-up, and then send emails to those people, remarket to them as you mentioned. And that's how you can drive sales with email marketing. That's the very, very high level, basic strategy to it. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'm glad you reiterated it because you kind of cut out there at the beginning when you were talking about driving traffic. But yeah, one thing that we really preach is choosing one primary acquisition channel, one channel to acquire customers or to acquire followers using that primary acquisition. So usually that's social media. So one primary acquisition channel might be Instagram, it might be TikTok, it might be Facebook, it might be Threads. Probably not. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But have one primary acquisition channel for driving traffic to your website, and then have a primary retention channel to remarket to that traffic. So the two most popular primary retention channels are email and SMS. We generally recommend starting with email. That's the easiest, in my opinion, just to get up and running. I also think it's really valuable. And so that's really it. Kind of reading what Kerry said. Primary acquisition channel, drive traffic to your website, collect their email addresses, then use your primary retention channel, i.e. email marketing, to turn them into paying customers.
Yeah, you nailed it, dude.
Cool.
Why don't we move into number 4?
Yeah, let's do that. So number 4, we are talking about how to make money in your sleep. And I know this sounds too good to be true, and I know it sounds super cliche, but guys, literally you can do this. Literally Kerry does this. Literally I do this. Literally probably a lot of people listening are doing this. And that is through email marketing automations. So let's start by answering the question, what is an email marketing automation? So these are actually called flows in Klaviyo. I wish they just called them automations because you kind of know exactly what it means. It's like an automated email, whereas you're like, what the hell is a flow? You know what I mean? Anyhow, but
it's also sometimes called a sequence, something like that. Sequence, flow, automation. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a number of names for them, but
Funnel,
essentially,
maybe.
What's that?
I said a funnel, maybe something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But just like to explain it succinctly, a flow is a sequence of automated steps that are triggered when a customer completes a specific action or when a specific event occurs. So an example of this would be a flow may trigger when someone adds an item to their shopping cart but does not complete the purchase. This is referred to as an abandoned cart flow, and it can help you recover otherwise lost sales as you communicate with customers at the right time with the right message. So what you could do is you could set up an abandoned cart flow or automation that's triggered every time someone abandons their cart, every time they add something to their cart and then leave your website. And what that's going to do is that's going to automatically send them an email at a time that you determine. Might be an hour after they abandon their cart or they leave your website. It might be a couple hours. It's going to send them an email and say something like, oops, looks like you forgot something. And it'll have dynamic code in it automatically built in that'll actually show them the exact item that they had added to their cart and give them a link to click on that. That'll take them right back to the page to complete their purchase. And I don't know about you, Kerry, but like email, when a lot of times when you're shopping online, it can be very you can easily get disrupted because a lot of us do it from our phone. And when we're on our phones, we're getting text messages, we're getting phone calls. A lot is going on. And a lot of times I'm on my phone doing this stuff, I'm trying to multitask, and then something comes up and I have to like leave, you know what I mean? So this significantly improves the chances of converting these individuals into paying customers. Like there was intent there. They added an item to their cart. A lot of the times when someone adds an item to their cart, their intention is to purchase that item. And by you sending them a perfectly timed email, reminding them, making it very, very simple for them to buy, where it literally has a photo of the item, they click it, and it takes them right to the page to complete their purchase, that will result in a sale in a lot of cases. And that is very, very powerful. Like I believe selling is service. When you're sending an abandoned cart email to someone to remind them about a product that they wanted to buy, they're going to appreciate that. And a lot of times in the abandoned carts, people will include a discount or some incentive to get them over the hurdle, and they're going to appreciate that too. And maybe that's what they needed. A lot of times, like, I don't know about you, Kerry, but a lot of times I'll intentionally go onto a website and abandon my cart to get the abandoned cart email discount, because I know that it seems like 9 out of 10 websites have an abandoned cart sequence, and usually they offer a discount. So it's a powerful thing, and it works. Like, it's not going to convert 100% of people, but it will convert a lot of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I mean, there's so much I love about automated flows, and there's actually quite a few that you can set up. The template library in Klaviyo is extremely extensive. There are so many automations pre-built where you can just go and you can activate this flow immediately, and then you can just make some really, really small changes. Like, I'm just going to throw my logo on there. I'm going to use my brand colors, and you can design it a little bit differently or something like that. But you don't even have to make many changes. So I just want to explain what a flow is and give you an example of the power of a flow. The other thing that I love about them is their automations. These are literally, you can set and forget them. I mentioned this earlier, but that is one of the most powerful things about flows. It's like having a staff member working for you and sending an email out every time someone abandons their cart. You don't have to do anything. Like, you can go in there and you can make updates at any time. You can tweak your language, your ad copy. You can change some branding and some elements, but you could also just set it up and let it run in the background, and you're going to make a lot of sales. You're literally going to make sales in your sleep. You're going to wake up in the morning and you'll look and you'll see that some of your emails had converted into sales. Yeah. So it literally makes you money in your sleep. As much as that seems too good to be true, it's literally true. And I hope that all makes sense and you can see how. So the other thing I want to mention, just in case I haven't hammered this home enough, is how quick and easy it is to set up flows. Klaviyo has a built-in flow library. I'm sure a lot of the other systems do too now. Yeah. I don't know. I used to use OmniSend. I haven't used it for years, and I'm guessing they have built-in flows. Maybe MailChimp does, but Klaviyo has a super extensive list. You can literally type in what you're trying to achieve, like your objective, like, abandoned carts, or you can filter by abandoned carts or abandoned browser or welcome series. And a lot of times they'll have multiple. Some they mix in email and SMS, because Klaviyo also has built-in SMS. And then some you can say, I just want the email flow, just emails to start.
Yeah, what's great about those is, like, some of those are actually pretty complex, and but with this Klaviyo, flow library, like, they make it super simple. So, like, to give you an example, if somebody were to join your email list, and then let's say 3 months later, they come back to your website and they go look at a product, maybe like a new product you released or something. They're looking at a product, they're considering buying it, and then they just leave. Well, if they're on your email list, Klaviyo can actually do what's called browse abandonment. And that means they can recognize when somebody on your email list goes to your website and just looks at a product. They don't even have to add to cart, just looks at a product, and it can trigger an email. It's like, so like stuff like that sounds pretty like crazy, but what's cool is, like, with Klaviyo is you can literally just add the browse abandonment flow and then customize the emails, and it, like, does all the technical backend stuff for you. Like, it automatically sets that up. So, like, there's really no reason, like, to not use these flows, because again, they're all just, like, set up perfectly for you. If you don't know, like, how often should I send an email in the welcome series, like, Klaviyo's got it all in there, just, like, set up for you. And here's what's cool is, like, Klaviyo has humongous brands using their software, like $1 million and probably hundreds of $1 million brands. And they have all that data, which means they can use that data to know what works. They can see what these brands are doing in their email that is actually working and converting sales, and they can create their flows and their automations based off of that data. So what you're getting from the flow library is not just guesswork. It's literally based off of years and years of, like, hard data, seeing what emails and what timing works. So I just think that's awesome. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a really, really good point. The last thing I want to say is I want to share what I believe are 3 essential flows. And even if you're not sending out email campaigns, definitely try to get these flows in place, because again, an email campaign is a one-off campaign. You send it once and then you have to send another one. It's a little bit more manual, right? Whereas flows are totally automated. You set them up once and then they keep running in the background. So what I suggest is that everyone gets these flows set in place. The first one that I think is absolutely necessary, as soon as you're collecting email addresses, please, if you're listening to this, set up an abandoned cart flow. Please, this will make you sales. That is the super low-hanging fruit. These are people who showed intent, they took action, and a lot of them, something happened that disrupted their purchasing, and the reminder will be enough. You don't even have to offer a lot of them a discount. You just one simple reminder email will be enough to get them to say, oh yeah, I forgot, I really wanted to get this. I'm so glad that I got this email, and they complete their purchase. So that's the one that I recommend setting up immediately. And even if it's not a very good abandoned cart flow, like if it's something pretty stock, like if you just pretty much activate the Klaviyo out of the box one, it's better than nothing, and it will convert people. Kerry, were you going to say something?
I was going to say just a kind of a pro tip, I guess, is like the highest percentage reason that people abandon their cart is actually shipping charges. Like it's like the majority of people, the reason they leave is because they're like, oh, I want this $25 t-shirt. They add it to the cart and it's like $7 for shipping. I'm not gonna do that. So that's like the highest reason. There's a few other reasons, but that's the main reason why people leave. So like if you have a website right now and you're charging shipping for on your website for orders, that's totally fine. But the pro tip is set up your abandoned cart, just give them a free shipping coupon.
Yes.
Like, simple as that. Just say, hey, did you stop because of the shipping? Here's a free coupon. Boom. Waive the shipping. Like super simple.
Yeah. That's such a good point. I remember hearing that stat as well, and it's not like everyone abandons their cart because of shipping. That's just the most common reason, because we live in the age of Prime, where a lot of people have free shipping from Amazon, and it's hard for small businesses to compete with that. And I think a lot of people understand that. But right there, you have quashed the objection. Like the objection to not completing their purchase might be the shipping cost. And if you can send them an email and just say, like you said, like use code free ship to get free shipping on your order, that if that is the objection, that is going to get a lot of people over the edge. That's going to convert them to customers. I love that. It's like very targeted, and you're going off the statistical reasons, and that can be very, very powerful. So the first one is setting up an abandoned cart sequence. The second one that I strongly recommend is a welcome series. So what I've found is in most cases, the abandoned cart series and the welcome series are the 2 best converting sequences that'll probably make you the most sales and the most revenue. And so this is the second one that I recommend setting up. You want to start with the most valuable ones and then kind of make your way down. But starting at the top, abandoned cart, next welcome series. This is essentially just an email or a series of emails that are kind of dripped out over a couple of days or maybe over a week or two that are welcoming people to your community and introducing your brand, requesting that they follow you on social so that they can see you in more places and you can become top of mind more often. There's a lot of things you can do with the welcome series. You can offer them a new member discount. You can talk about, all the value that you might offer. If you have a blog, if you have a podcast, whatever you have, like this is where you can really sell your brand and get people excited about your brand. And then is there anything you want to say about the welcome series, Kerry?
Well, I was going to say a very short story is that when I started my first t-shirt e-commerce brand, I had this mentor and he was like, man, you got to do email marketing. He was like, you got to do email marketing. So I was just like everybody else. Like it was like I was starting to run Facebook ads and I was getting some sales, but I didn't know I was supposed to be building an email list. I didn't have a course. I didn't have anything like that. So this guy was just like dude, why aren't you email marketing? So I got an email marketing account. I made the pop-up. I started collecting emails, and I was kind of like, well, I don't really know what to do. Like, I'm not making much money from the emails. I'm getting emails from this pop-up, but I don't know what to do. And he was like, just let me get in your account and let me write you a welcome series. Like, let me just get in there, write you a welcome. He just wrote it for me. So he got in there and did like 3 emails. Essentially, what a welcome series. Here's what's cool is when not everybody that's going to join your list is an abandoned cart, right? Like, only a small percentage of people are actually an abandoned cart. Abandoned cart is when they add to cart, but then they actually have to go through the checkout process and put in their email in order to become an abandoned cart. So most people that join your email list are going to come from like the pop-up. Generally, they're not going to be an abandoned cart. So you need another sequence to get them to buy. And that's the welcome series. Anytime somebody joins your list from that pop-up or any other way, you can trigger this welcome series. And so essentially what a welcome series is like, welcome to the tribe, welcome to the family. It's a lot of times it's, hey, here, I wanted to say hi from the owner. Here's a picture of my family. We value your business. We love, this is what we stand for. You do that kind of thing. The next email, you may showcase some of your best selling products, right? You may showcase some testimonials and some different, social proof and show some action shots and different things like that and have a clear call to action. And then you might do a third email in the welcome series where you offer them some kind of discount or something along those lines. And that's essentially what he did. And this is how I got started with like a welcome series, was he set up just this rock star welcome series. It was like 3 or 4 emails. It was on brand. He used like GIFs in there. He put like some funny GIFs that were like kind of related to my niche. And just wrote it for me. And that thing, like for the next like 1 or 2 years, like I literally did not touch it. And it would just convert sale after sale after sale after sale, And so it was so powerful because I just went from almost just having an abandoned cart and not really making much other money off email to just this one thing. Like, I think the welcome series is probably the best, the best flow that you can set up. I mean, it's the most no-brainer. It catches people while they're like already wanting to buy because they just joined your email list. They probably, like, high likelihood, they were just looking at a product that they were considering buying, join the email list, and then you start hitting them with, value adding emails and a discount and those kind of things. And it's like, you're just going to get a lot of people that are going to pull the trigger based off like that emotional buying, So anyways, I love the welcome series, and like that kind of revolutionized my email marketing game.
Yeah, you're totally right. And I mean, one of the nice things so welcome series generally have one of the highest open rates because it's one of the first emails people receive from your brand. And when they're excited about your brand, they subscribe to your email list because they're like, this brand is so me. I love everything about this brand. And then you get to sell them even more. You get to sell them on your mission and your story. There's so many elements of it that you can use to make them even become stronger brand evangelists and to ideally convert them into excited paying customers and raving fans. So yes, welcome series, amazing. Highly recommend setting that up. And then the third essential flow that I recommend, that Kerry probably recommends as well, is a post-purchase series. And the reason why I love the post-purchase series is, again, because this is a time when people are really excited about your brand. They've already made a purchase and they're excited because there's something about your brand that they really like or about your products that they really like. And this is a great opportunity to try to get another sale out of them, to try to make them purchase again. So with our post-purchase series, our goal is to make them a repeat customer within 10 days of their first purchase. And how we do that is we actually up the discount because we have already paid to acquire that customer, usually in the form of some sort of advertising. And we know that no matter how many times they buy from us, there was only that one cost per acquisition. So after the first sale, every other sale is more profitable. And so we can offer them a bigger discount because we want to increase the customer lifetime value, the frequency of purchases. That is what makes a lot of brands very, very valuable, is when they can get a number of customers to purchase again and again and again and again. And they're not always prospecting for one sale and then losing everybody after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of the profit is made in the repeat sales. And that is why the post-purchase flow is so powerful. And why I recommend everyone set it up. Kerry, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's you've got the first sale from this customer, right? They've made their first sale. Now they are infinitely more valuable to you than people on your list that have not made a sale, because people that have already purchased from you are way more likely to make another purchase than somebody who's not purchased from you to make their first purchase. They're way cheaper to market to. They would generally spend more in their second or third purchase from your company than they will in the first one. And another thing that I would recommend everybody does as you start getting enough sales. This is like I guess a little bit more an advanced strategy. I wouldn't say it's that advanced, but a little bit more advanced is like, once I would say my first 500 sales, I started running ads to just my buyers. Like I would just load my buyers into the Facebook Ads Manager, and I still do this. And over time, obviously, it's grown to more thousands and thousands of sales. So this grew over time. But this is so powerful because you're just going to get way lower ad costs. Like you're going to get way higher, bigger cart values, and not enough people pay attention to their buyers. And we talked earlier about segmentation. This is one thing that's so great about email is you can literally go into Klaviyo and say, I just want to send an email to all my buyers. And as that buyers list grows, you offer them special incentives that you don't offer to your non-buyers. You value them in a different way. And they're going to buy from you more frequently and at higher cart values than non-customers. So pay attention to your customers. This is the whole purpose of a post-purchase flow. It's bring it home, bring it back around. This is the whole purpose of a post-purchase flow, is to reward your existing customers and get an additional sale from them that is generally going to be cheaper to convert, higher converting, and they're gonna purchase more in that purchase, in that sale.
That was really well said. Yeah. Really, our goal, the reason why post-purchase flows can be so powerful is really comes down to one thing: trust.
Yep, exactly.
We built trust with them. I would argue that it's much harder to get someone to buy from you once, because you have to build the trust before they pull out their credit card and make that purchase. But if they've already done it once, and if they try on the product and they're really happy with it and they love it, the trust is built, they're happy with their product, they're significantly more likely to buy from you again. So the goal of a primary acquisition channel like social media is to attract people and get them to know, like, and trust you. Once you've got that, once you have a community of people that are very interested, that identify with your niche, that are your ideal target audience, and you have built that, they know, like, and trust you, man, that's powerful. That is so powerful. And it's going to make email marketing so much more effective.
Exactly. I'm glad you brought that up. It really is about, they already trust you because they've already made a purchase from you.
Yeah.
So let's move into Let's move into number 5.
Yep.
Which is the last point we want to make about email marketing, and last tips, kind of set of tips we want to give you. And this is email campaign ideas. I think we're approaching the 60-minute mark. If we can get through this one pretty quick, we're gonna stay in this. I think it's gonna be close.
Let's go. Right. Maybe we should just double speed our voices, in editing. So we all sound like chipmunks,
just to get under the 60-minute mark. So number 5 is email campaign ideas. So what's the difference between a campaign and a flow? Because we're talking about something different here. Essentially, an email campaign is a one-time manual email sent to a group of contacts. This could be all your contacts, or it could be a segmented part of your subscribers or contacts, whatever you want to call them, email subscribers. But it's manually sent to either all or a group of those. It's not automated like a flow, but it can still be scheduled. So this is kind of to me, this is the final piece of the email marketing puzzle. And just to kind of recap the whole strategy for anybody out there just kind of getting started with this, or maybe you've already started emailing, but you're just trying to fit the pieces together. You drive traffic from an outside source like SEO or social media or advertising, that kind of thing. You collect their emails via a pop-up on your website. And then you set up automated flows such as the abandoned cart, welcome series, and post-purchase, which is kind of our 3 essential flows. And then the last piece of the puzzle is start sending them manual campaigns. I would recommend at least 2 per week. And generally how I try to break it up, and we're going to give you some examples of campaigns that you can send out. Generally how I try to break it up is one related to providing more value-based, and then the second one related to selling your products. So it's just a mix of just keeping it very simple. Maybe you send one on Tuesday and one on Friday. The Tuesday email, you're giving a tip, or you're sharing a testimonial, or you're sharing a story, or pointing to a piece of social media content or a news article. And then on Friday, you are heavy selling your products, showcasing, some of your best designs or new arrivals and different things like that. We'll get into that in just a second. But that's kind of how I break it up for the most part. 2 per week. I would say you could do as many as 3 or 4 per week if you really wanted to go hard into it. Sometimes your open rates will fall a little bit if you send more frequent emails. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But that is something that can happen. So anything you want to say about that, Adrian, before we get into some examples of campaigns?
One thing I want to say is I totally agree. I also want to be realistic when people are starting out. Like, I know they've got a lot going on. They're trying to set up their social media. They're trying to be consistent about posting content. They're trying to consistently drop designs to find a winner. So if you just cannot find the time to send 2 emails a week, that's okay. Like, start where you can. Something is better than nothing. So a lot of times, in a perfect world, we would send like 2 to 3 emails a week, and you could even send 4 to 5. And especially if they're segmented, they won't go to everyone. So you can send certain segments emails. So you could send up 4 to 5, but it's not like you're blanketing your entire list 4 to 5 times a week. There's a lot of things you can do, but 2 to 3 times, I do really like that number. That's when a lot of the big brands, that's how often you're going to hear from them, maybe even more. But the thing is, the last thing I want to say is, be realistic with what you can do. And so what I usually say is make a realistic goal for yourself and start there. Maybe it's 1 a week. 1 a week is awesome if that's all you have the time for. Maybe it's 1 every 2 weeks. If you can do 1 a week, if you think you can manage that, awesome. And there are ways, in Klaviyo, you can use one of their templates, and you can literally just use the same template for every email. You just change a couple of things like the content, the images, the headline, the logo will always be the same, stuff like that. So there are ways that you can kind of repeat. There's a lot of elements that you can just keep reusing, so you don't actually have to change much. But do what's realistic for you. I would aim to do at least 1 a week if you can. And then when you start getting more comfortable, if you have the time, try to get that up, try to bump that up to 2 to 3 times a week.
Yep. Let's move into some campaign examples. So here's some ideas for you that you can actually, send for campaigns. If you're trying to figure out kind of what do I put in my emails? Because that's one of the questions I get the most from students and YouTube and those kind of things. Is like, what do I put in my emails? Like, what do I run out of ideas? Or what do I say? Right. So here's some ideas. I would say one thing I would just add. Email is, as I mentioned earlier, just briefly, people are conditioned to be sold in email. They're used to receiving lots of sales focused emails. It's not bad to sell an email. It's good to sell an email. And I think it's one of the places you can sell a little bit heavier, in my opinion. When you're putting out social media content, that's the first touch point for a lot of people. And so you want to be more value focused. You want to be more tips and different things like that, stories and, all those kind of things, like providing more value. We talk about quotes and funny memes and those kind of things, right? Like, it's a little more value heavy on social media, but in the email, you can sell a little bit harder because that's really how email is designed and how people are conditioned to receiving it, they're used to getting sold in the email. So some campaign examples. If you're running a sale, you can, the same mentor I talked about earlier told me early on, he was like, run a sale for every single holiday possible. Earth Day, run a sale. Like, you know what I mean? Memorial
100%.
Day, Labor Day, July 4th, like Christmas, Halloween, like just run a sale. Even if it's for one day, just run a sale, right? And you always want to promote that sale to your email list.
And there's even non-holidays that you can piggyback off of, like Prime Day, where you run a Prime Day sale, you say free shipping site-wide for the next 2 days. And, you know, if you have a sales section, you can be like, and up to 20% off sale item, something like that. That's good. Other things, like if you're in a certain niche, let's say it's Earth Day and you're in the hiking niche or something like that, send an Earth Day sale, something like, you know, piggyback off niche specific holidays as well. And then you can even create your own holidays, like your birthday, your brand birthday. That's huge. Like we always run a brand birthday sale and it always does really, really well. And it's in April, which there's not, what's in April? Maybe Easter is in April, but we run both and they both do really, really well because there's a reason for the sale. It doesn't seem totally random. And I think sometimes random might come across as desperate, not always, but when you always are running a sale and there's no real reason for it, or you have a flash sale like every week, it's like, oh, they're like, why are they always having sales? You know what I mean? It's nice when you can piggyback on something. People expect that. Like, you know, when you go shopping when it's leading up to July 4th, everywhere you see posters on billboard, posters on shops saying July the 4th sale or Labor Day sale or something, you know, they're always, you can do the same thing with your e-commerce brand.
Yep. The next one would be new arrivals. Like, new designs, new products. Maybe you're putting a existing design on a new product. Great opportunity to email out. Is anytime you have anything new on your website, definitely email that out. Social proof emails.
Totally. Can I give a pro tip on that?
Yes.
Can I give a pro tip on the new arrivals? So this is something that I love to do. I encourage people to drop a lot of new designs because every new design is an opportunity to find a winner. And a winner is a design that you can scale up and you can take your brand to 6 figures and beyond through paid ads. That's the definition of a winner for me. It's a scalable design that you can run paid ads to profitably and you can grow your sales significantly. Yep. But one thing that I recommend doing is if you are able to drop a lot of new designs, or let's say you're dropping 10 designs a month, they could be all text-based designs, it doesn't matter. But if you're dropping a lot of new designs, what I recommend is spreading them out and not sending one email a month with 10 new designs, but instead send 2 emails with 5 new designs. Or you can even send 3 emails and have like 3, 3, and 4, something like that. So that spreads your content out. It actually gives you more content to email your subscribers about, and it makes it less overwhelming. Less likely that the new design or the new product will get overlooked by the email subscribers because there's less for them to look at. And if it's a shorter email with less products, they're more likely to see every single one on there. And so it's just, there's a lot of benefits to it. And it's something that I recommend to all my students.
Yeah.
All of our students.
Next one would be social proof emails. So just showcasing, reviews and highlights from customers, pictures you have of customers wearing your products. Those are always great emails. And then I want to give a tip as well, kind of really to any of these that are on here, any of these campaign examples. Always include a call to action in your emails. And one thing I like to an actual purchase call to action, like buy products or whatever, is for e-commerce mainly. But one thing I always do is, even if it's a value-based email, I always include some of my products down at the bottom, like picture and call to action on a few different, t-shirts or any items. Always include some items, always include a call to action to buy. So, ideally, like on a social proof email, you might have a really favorable review and a picture of the customer wearing your product. But then below that, you want to give them a call to action to buy that product that you're showcasing on that email.
Right. 100%. Yep. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. I love doing like a fresh off the gram email where you take like some of your Instagram reviews with the user generated content and you just post like 4 of them in an email. It's great social proof. It shows people that other people are buying your products. They can see these people buying them and be like, that person looks like me. If they're in the hiking niche and you're a hiking brand and people are showing photos of them wearing your products out in the wilderness. It just, there's so much power in that. And I think it can really help your conversion rates.
Next one is back in stock. So if a product's gone out of stock and it's back, send an email. It's back in stock. Next one would be giveaways. Pretty self-explanatory. If you're doing any kind of giveaway, obviously email it out to your list.
Totally.
Next one would be blog posts. I would add to blog posts, there might be social media posts as well. So it's blog posts or social media posts, or if you're doing any kind of like video content that you want to blast out. One other kind of pro tip is you can cross promote your platforms. So let's say that you've been building your email list primarily through paid ads and you've got your email list up to, let's say it's 500 people, but you're looking at your Instagram account and you're like, well, I only have 200 followers. Email your 500 person list and say, follow me on Instagram, right? Like give them a piece of content, point to that content over on Instagram, let them know how juicy it is. They got to check it out and ask them to go over and follow you.
Follow us on Threads.
Follow us on Threads. And then lastly, we have on here collaborations. So, linking up with other brands or that kind of thing. Do you have anything to add to collaborations?
If you're working with any influencers,
good.
even if they're small, you can still do like brand name times, brand name X influencer name in the headline. And people will be like, oh, cool. A lot of times small influencers, they're small compared to someone like the Kardashians or the Jenners. But if they're very niche specific, a lot of people in that niche will recognize the name. And so even small, big, whatever, like you should still treat it like a big collaboration. And it can be a really powerful email with high open rates because people are like, oh, cool, who are they collaborating with? And then they go check out this influencer. They might even be smaller, but if they're really into your niche, if they're a really good fit for your niche and they're putting out a lot of cool content, people are going to be happy that you introduced them and they're going to love that that person is working with your brand. Again, that builds trust. It's good social proof. And it gives them a new person in the niche that they can follow.
Yep. That's good. I think that about wraps it up, man. Email marketing is amazing. Go do it. Go take action. Go take imperfect action right here. Go take imperfect action.
Yes.
Go set up your email. Start emailing your list for sure.
100%. I absolutely love email marketing. I love teaching it. I love when people are taking action and sharing their results because it can be really powerful. Even if you have a small email list, as long as these are people who know, like, and trust you and they identify well with your niche and you're giving them a good experience. A lot of them are going to become customers. And so this is why, the owned platforms are so powerful. People don't talk about it that much, but a lot of the money is made on the owned platforms, not the rented platforms. That's like an introduction to your brand. That's exposure. That's letting people know that your brand exists. But really the big step from there, the big next step in the kind of funnel, if you want to call it, is to collect their emails so that you remarket to them and significantly improve your chances of converting that follower into a paying customer.
100%.
So this was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for listening. That was great. Yeah, that was great.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. We will talk to you very, very soon.
See you in the next one.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Print on Demand Playbook podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us an honest review on whichever platform you're listening from. Thank you so much again, and we will talk to you very, very soon.